This video is kindly sponsored by ExpressVPN. Go to expressvpn.com/Kendall Rae to find out how you can get 3 months free. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a conspiracy theory video. Except this isn't really a theory. This one's totally real. Honestly, I cannot believe I haven't talked about it on my channel. I have definitely talked about it on my podcast, Mile Higher Podcast. That's really where I do most of my conspiracy type content nowadays because YouTube ain't a fan of it. But I wanted to sit down and do a full video on the Bohemian Grove because it's one of those things that once you hear about it, it leaves you kind of fucking shook. The Bohemian Grove is one of those really secretive, unexplained things that happens to this day in our country that a lot of people just have no idea about. And if they did, I think they would question it a little bit because this shit is weird. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about and have never heard of the Bohemian Grove, well, it's basically like a secretive, exclusive, elitist summer camp for all men. And they do a bunch of weird ritualistic stuff. I know it sounds crazy, but it is 100% true. Every year in June or July, for about 2 weeks, some of the world's wealthiest and most powerful men in the country head to the Bohemian Grove in Sonoma County, California, also known as the Redwoods or the Redwood Forest. This area is highly populated with trees, which makes it a perfect place to host a secret camp because the trees really give the Bohemian Grove its protection, its secrecy. And that's why for the most part, we have no idea what goes on there most of the time. But the Bohemian Grove itself is essentially a giant campground. It's privately owned and it's 2,700 acres, so a really large amount of space, and it's very highly protected. They have multiple campgrounds within the Bohemian Grove. Now this whole event is actually really secret. There is a no cell phone policy. You're not allowed to bring any type of device that communicates with the outside world into the Bohemian Grove. They have tons of surveillance, so good luck sneaking in there. They have cameras everywhere and multiple guard stops at all the entrances. And not only that, they're protected by the local police and the Secret Service. So something pretty important must be going on there, right? Why are they so dead set on keeping it secret and keeping others out? In addition to the Bohemian Grove, there's also the Bohemian Club. There are around 2,400 members, so quite a few, and all of those people are really rich and really powerful. And it is not cheap to join the Bohemian Club. It would cost you $25,000 plus $5,000 annually. But good luck getting into the club because, like I said, you have to be really rich, really powerful, know the right people, and the wait list is about 20 to 30 years at the moment. The club is located in a 6-story masonry building on the corner of Post Street and Taylor Street in the Union Square district of San Francisco, California. And the clubhouse contains dining rooms, meeting rooms, a bar, a library, an art gallery, a theater, and guest rooms. And of course, it's only accessible by the Bohemian Club members. But we're gonna be talking about the Grove specifically, the campground. So like I said, the Bohemian Club members go to a retreat every summer around June or July for 2 weeks. And some very important people have gone to this or still go to this every year. For example, every single Republican US president since 1923 and some Democrats have been members of the Bohemian Club and have gone to this event. Not only that, but major cabinet officials and a lot of really wealthy, powerful people like CEOs of major banks, even military contractors go, CEOs of oil companies, people who have a lot of power. But not only people who have financial power, but also people who have social influence. A lot of national media presences like newscasters end up going. And some famous artists and musicians have gone as well, including Mark Twain, Bing Crosby, Mickey Hart. Now, what is the point of this? What are they doing there and why is it so secretive? Well, of course, if you ask the Bohemian Club directly, they will tell you that this is just a casual get-together with like-minded people. That's just the way that their club meets up once a year. Some members have said things like, it's honestly just a place for rich people to get together and be knuckleheads. They say it's like a giant frat party, that people are wasted all the time in the middle of the day, that there are people walking around naked and drunk, and they claim that it's kind of like a team building exercise in a way. But is that really all that's happening there? So the club itself is 150 years old. It was founded just after the Civil War. It was started in 1872 in San Francisco by Henry Harry Edwards. And since 1878, the members of the Bohemian Club have been going to Bohemian Grove every summer. And for a while, they just rented the campground until they bought it outright in 1899. So they've had ownership of this campground for over 100 years. And at first, the idea was to create this as a getaway spot for people who are members of the club or artists and writers at the time to be able to get away and clear their minds. The Grove is essentially supposed to serve as a place that people can relax and get away from it all without being bothered by the real world. A former member actually claimed that the camp is kind of set up with a bunch of smaller camps within it that have like 20 to 50 people per campground. And apparently each camp is unique and they each have their own kind of theme to their clubhouse or cabin. Now, like I mentioned, every member of the Bohemian Club is a man. You cannot be a member and be a female. And you also have to have wealth or have power and have achieved that in your life or have been born into it. The club is known to have very conservative political beliefs and mainly conservative or Republican members. And there are some other big names that if you're into the world of conspiracy, you probably know. If you have ever heard of the 5 families, I will link my podcast on them below. But 4 of the 5 families that are said to be the most powerful families in the world attend this, and that is the Rockefellers, the Morgans, and the Bushes. The members of those families are extremely powerful on the world stage, and you definitely wonder what they could all be talking about when they get together. Some other people that have attended are Jimmy Carter, William Casey, who is a former CIA director, Joseph Coors, Clint Eastwood, Harry Kissinger, Donald Rumsfeld, George Shultz, and Ken Starr. Here's George W. Bush with his daddy Bush at the Bohemian Grove. So obviously you have to wonder what these people do there. Why do they meet up once a year, and why is it so secretive and protected? If they're just hanging out, then what is up with all the secrecy? You'd feel like since most of them are business people or related to business in some way, that they've got to talk about business, right? Well, they actually do have this motto. It's "Weaving spiders come not here." And this line is taken from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. So they claim they make no business deals, they don't have business discussion, that it's just hang time. It's a big party. And of course, that's what they want us to think, right? However, that's just not the case, because business has been done there in the past. First of all, it's a huge political networking place, especially for Republicans. And they definitely don't leave business or political matters out of the topics that they discuss in the club, because Dwight Eisenhower actually gave a really important premier political address in the Grove in 1950, and it really helped him to network with other people in his party and ended up getting that Republican nomination. Also, during the time that Nelson Rockefeller was wanting to run for president, he flew into the Bohemian Grove and gave a lakeside chat in 1963. Also in 1967, Richard Nixon and Ronald Reagan met at the Bohemian Grove to work on a political deal. And the deal was that Reagan would run for presidency only if Nixon did not, and probably a lot of other things that we have never heard about. And in some of his memoirs, Richard Nixon actually talks about how important being a member of the Bohemian Club is to your political success in America. He said, "If I were to choose the speech that gave me the most pleasure and most satisfaction in my political career, it would be my lakeside speech at the Bohemian Grove in July 1967. Because this speech traditionally was off the record. It received no publicity at the time, but in many important ways, it marked the first milestone on my road to presidency." So obviously, politics and business does happen at the Bohemian Grove, and important things are discussed there. Sometimes some major things, such as the discussion around the first hydrogen bomb. Dr. Edward Teller, who is known as the father of the hydrogen bomb, reserved the grounds in September of 1942, and the groundwork for the Manhattan Project was created there. So it's not like that's just casual, fun campground talk. They were talking about how to build the world's biggest weapons at this club. So a lot of people think that when they get together, they discuss the events of the world and how it can be manipulated or what they want to introduce, basically ensuring that society keeps heading in a direction where we can be controlled by corporations and government and media. So we actually do know a little bit about what goes on at the Bohemian Grove, and it is some weird shit. But the only reason we know about it is thanks to Alex Jones, who I know has gone pretty off the deep end these days.
I'll admit it. I will eat my neighbors, but I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, you know what? I'm ready. I'll eat your ass. You think I like sizing up my neighbor, how I'm going to haul him up by a chain and chop his ass up? I'll do it. I will eat your ass.
But anyway, before he completely lost his shit, Alex Jones actually snuck into the Bohemian Grove with a camera back in 2000 and captured the only footage that we have of it to this day.
Well, here we are in Northern California, right outside the Bohemian Grove. The fruits of nature.
And it is bizarre.
Well, here we are, folks. Turning on to the Bohemian Highway and Bohemian Grove.
It's weird behavior, definitely, so it needs to be investigated. And plus, it gets the adrenaline up. Thrill seekers have to have more. Then we get into the whole semantical debate about is there a left and a right, and to me there really isn't. There's a command and control on one end and anarchy on the other, and I want to be on the middle of the real spectrum. In fact, I was reading some of the talks that they've given and they've released that the Bohemian Grove has discussed, and it's all population control, world courts. They're talking 20 years ago. So definitely some stuff going on here that's pretty important.
I began to shoot the video you just witnessed. After we turned the camera off, one of the Sonoma County Sheriff's deputies showed up and began asking us why we were filming. We calmly told him we were just sightseeing as members of the Bohemian Club. The point that has to be made here, though, is they do have hidden cameras, because there's no way that they would have been able to witness us videotaping from where the guard shack was located.
So let's go over some of the weird shit that Alex Jones found out about and filmed while he was there. First thing is the cremation of care. Since 1980, every single Bohemian Grove has kicked off with the cremation of care. And this is gonna sound crazy, but this is completely real. The ceremony starts with a parade of men dressed in red, hooded robes, sometimes carrying torches, and some of them carry this wooden box, it's like a wooden casket type thing, that has an effigy of a human body inside. They have this wooden skeleton that's like stuffed with straw, and they call it care. And they take care out, bring it into the ceremony area, which is on the side of a lake, and they have this giant owl, huge, 40 feet tall actually, that sits on the side of the stage and watches all this go down. And one thing that's just really interesting to know is if you look on the $1 bill, you can see an owl-like shape peeking its head over the edge of the semicircle in the dollar. A lot of people wonder if that's the Bohemian Club symbol and if it's on our own US currency.
Many of the members of the Bohemian Grove have in their homes, as I understand it, small figurines of owls. And I believe they actually worship those owls.
As they're carrying in care down to the owl stage, Bohemian Club members then dress up as tree spirits, which convince all the other people that are watching the show to leave their cares behind. They sing a song, and the priest tells the members, "Shake off your sorrows with the city's dust and scatter to the winds the cares of life." And then they take care, the wooden skeleton, bring it down to the stage and put it on some type of altar. And this is where they burn it. They do like a fake human sacrifice. And while it's burning, people are supposed to let go of all their cares and worries about the real world. Now, of course, a lot of people think that they are actually sacrificing a real body. I highly doubt it, especially in the Alex Jones video. It definitely just seems like a wood thing.
Begone, dull care. Fire shall have its will of thee. Begone, dull care. And all the winds make merry with thy dust. Hail, fellowship's eternal flame. Once again, midsummer sets us free.
So that's that's just an example of one of the ritualistic things that they do there. Of course, it's important to remember that no women and no children are allowed at the Bohemian Grove. And so one of the things that the men there like to do is put together these little plays called hijinks or low jinks. And apparently they act out these really trashy, sexist plays that are really degrading towards women. Apparently every year they write new plays, and that's a big part of what they do there is perform, which is so weird to think about all these business professionals and presidents like performing plays. Like I said, women are not allowed inside the Grove. However, there have been reports that some women have worked there. They also say that they bring them in as prostitutes, men and women, for the members that are there, which I would not be surprised if a group of wealthy men wanted to bring in prostitutes. People have pretty wide-ranging opinions on the Bohemian Grove. I think most people that know about it think it's weird as hell, but of course there's always gonna be those that are like, it's just a big sausage fest, you guys. It's fine, it's fine. I for one think something really weird happens at the Bohemian Grove. I think there's a reason why they use that owl. I think that ceremony means more. I mean, these guys are politicians, wealthy, elite leaders, and people that influence our whole economy and world. And they're running around the forest in like red capes performing rituals. That really concerns me. And that's 100% real. Like that really happens. You can't just be like, oh, I don't believe in it. No, it's real. Is it just completely innocent, or is there something to this? And of course, the Bohemian Club isn't the only place that these people meet up. There's also the Bilderberg meeting every year and other events where the elites of the world get together and talk about the rest of the world. It just comes down to personal belief, how much you think they actually do influence the world and what kind of discussions that they have there. I think it's sketch. I think something weird is going on at Bohemian Grove. Something about secret clubs, secret organizations, the Illuminati, which is a real thing. It was an actual secret club, or the Freemasons, or, you know, all those different secret societies and clubs. Something just doesn't sit right with me that they're all just hanging out, you know? I think there's a reason that these people make it to this every year and why it is so fucking protected. If it's just a camp and they're just hanging out, there wouldn't be the security that there is. I know that there's a lot of rich people here, but still, it's to an extreme extent. And of course you wonder what other rituals they perform. This is just what we've happened to get on camera because of Alex Jones. Imagine what else has gone on there that we have no idea about. So I want to know your thoughts on this. What do you think is going on at the Bohemian Grove? Do you think it's just a summer camp, or do you think there's something more sinister going on? But before I go, I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, ExpressVPN, who makes it possible for me to make this type of content. Did you know that sending data over an unencrypted internet connection is like sending a postcard? Your message is wide open for the mailman and any other nosy people to see. But you can completely avoid all that if you have a VPN, which is a virtual private network. And essentially it makes a privacy tunnel around your internet. I've been personally spending a lot more time making online orders given the current situation, and I want to make sure that my data isn't being collected by advertisers or my internet service provider. So ExpressVPN keeps my information private. I know a lot of us are working from home these days, and think about all the confidential information that you may handle. ExpressVPN will ensure that 100% of your data being transferred between your devices and the internet is encrypted and safe. So find out how you can get your first 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/Kendall Rae. That's expressvpn.com/Kendall Rae for 3 months free. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Stay safe out there, and I will see you next time.